Jack Tatum wasn't just a player, he was a game changer. Known as the Assassin, he was one of the hardest hitters the NFL had ever seen. His style wasn't just about skill, it was about power, intimidation, and the raw force that left opponents thinking twice before stepping into his zone. Playing safety for the Oakland Raiders, Tatum's punishing blows and fearless attitude struck fear into his rivals. He transformed the Raiders' defense into a juggernaut, one of the most feared in the league. Tatum's impact extended beyond stats.
There's at least some sense of what it's been like for the man he hasn't spoken to since their collision.
He embodied the very spirit of the Raiders' ruthless identity. NFL Films ranked him as the 6th hardest hitter in league history, and his accolades speak volumes. 3 Pro Bowls, the record for the longest fumble return in NFL history, and countless moments of pure dominance. Yet, for many, Tatum's legacy remains incomplete because he's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. A tragic incident during his career, the hit on New England Patriots receiver Darryl Stingley, has clouded his incredible contributions. But does one moment define a career? Or does his brilliance on the field outweigh the shadows? Jack Tatum was born on November 18, 1948 in Cherryville, North Carolina, before moving to Passaic County, New Jersey, with his family in search of better opportunities. Life in rural North Carolina was a world apart from the bustling, segregated schools of New Jersey. For young Jack, this was a cultural shock. Yet it was here, amidst the challenges, that he began to forge his resilience and character. At Passaic High School, Jack was naturally drawn to sports. He was an active kid who loved spending time outdoors, eventually excelling in basketball and track. But it was football that captured his heart. His early athletic abilities hinted at something special, but even then, he couldn't have imagined the heights he would one day reach. His journey wasn't straightforward. The Tatum family moved frequently, forcing him to adjust to new environments repeatedly. Yet, these challenges only sharpened his adaptability and determination. It was during one such move to Patterson, New Jersey, that Jack joined a football team for the first time. That single season of playing on his high school's freshman team ignited a passion that would define his life. Returning to Passaic High School, Tatum made football his focus. His parents, however, had different plans. His mother, in particular, wasn't keen on her son pursuing a career in sports. They wanted him to follow a more stable path, perhaps as a welder like his father or in domestic work like his mother. But Jack had a fire in him that couldn't be extinguished. Despite a sprained ankle in his first season, which left his mother distraught, he pressed on. On the field, Tatum was unstoppable. His natural aggression and ability to read the game made him a nightmare for opponents. He shined both as a linebacker and later as a running back, racking up 1,421 rushing yards in his senior season and earning All-American honors. His defensive prowess was equally remarkable. He led the team with an astonishing 187 tackles during his final year. Tatum's senior season performance caught the attention of college recruiters from top programs across the country. Yet, even as schools lined up for his talent, he dreamed of staying close to home, ideally at Syracuse University, where his idol Jim Brown had played. It seemed like a perfect plan until Ohio State's legendary coach Woody Hayes came knocking. Woody Hayes wasn't about to let a talent like Jack Tatum slip away. Ohio State had a storied program, but convincing Tatum to leave New Jersey for Ohio was no small task. Hayes made a bold move. He personally visited Tatum's home, speaking directly to Jack and his mother. Hayes didn't just sell Ohio State as a football program, he presented it as a future. Hayes told Tatum's mother that her son wouldn't just play football, he would get an education at one of the country's top universities. If football didn't work out, he'd still have a degree and a bright future ahead. This pitch resonated with her, Jack's mother, who had been so reluctant, now encouraged her son to take this opportunity. Her blessing sealed the deal. Jack Tatum committed to Ohio State, a decision that would change his life forever. At Ohio State, Jack Tatum began as a running back, but Woody Hayes saw something different. Hayes joked that Tatum was too talented for just one position. He was so good offensively, he couldn't play defense, and so good defensively, he couldn't play offense. The debate over where Tatum would shine wasn't simple. Hayes initially envisioned him as an offensive star, but assistant coach Lou Holtz had a different idea. Holtz believed that Tatum's real potential lay in defense. His ability to read plays, anticipate moves, and deliver punishing hits was rare. After much discussion, Holtz convinced Hayes to transition Tatum to defensive back. The move paid off immediately. Tatum became the anchor of Ohio State's defense, covering the best receivers and occasionally stepping into a linebacker role to stop even the toughest fullbacks. By the time his college career ended, Tatum was a two-time All-American and had led Ohio State to a national championship in '68. His hits were legendary, and his presence on the field changed games. The NFL was already watching, and it wasn't long before Jack Tatum was ready to take his talents to the next level. Jack Tatum's entrance into the NFL wasn't just a transition, it was the beginning of an era. In 1971, Tatum was selected 19th overall in the first round of the NFL draft by the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders weren't just any team. Under the leadership of Al Davis, they were building a reputation as the bad boys of football, fearless, physical, and unapologetically aggressive. Adding Tatum to their roster was the perfect fit for the Raiders' identity. At first, Tatum admitted he wasn't familiar with the Raiders, but he didn't have to know them to become their cornerstone. His rookie contract, a six-figure deal with a $50,000 signing bonus, a significant amount at the time, set the stage for his career. It wasn't long before Tatum proved he was worth every penny. From the moment he stepped onto the field, his impact was felt. His explosive hits and aggressive style of play caught everyone's attention. By the end of his rookie season, he wasn't just another player, he was already a name that struck fear into opponents. Tatum quickly became a part of the Raiders' legendary secondary, known as the Soul Patrol. Alongside Willie Brown, George Atkinson, and Skip Thomas, Tatum helped create a defensive unit that redefined the word fearsome. Opposing quarterbacks hesitated to throw deep, knowing the Soul Patrol was waiting. Wide receivers avoided the middle of the field altogether, terrified of Tatum's punishing hits. This wasn't just a defense, it was an intimidation machine. The Soul Patrol's physicality and relentless style of play complemented Tatum's aggressive approach perfectly. Together, they made the Raiders' defense not just effective, but terrifying. Opponents didn't just lose to the Raiders, they left the field battered, bruised, and sometimes questioning their decision to play football. It wasn't just about stopping plays, it was about breaking spirits. And at the heart of it all was Tatum, the enforcer who gave the Soul Patrol its bite. Jack Tatum's playing style wasn't just about skill, it was psychological warfare. He didn't just tackle players, he annihilated them. His hits were so powerful, they became a spectacle in themselves. Fans cheered, teammates celebrated, and opponents braced for impact every time Tatum closed in. He wasn't just playing defense, he was sending a message: enter my zone and you'll pay the price. What made Tatum unique wasn't just his strength or speed, it was his ability to read the game. He could anticipate plays with surgical precision, putting himself in the perfect position to deliver his devastating hits. This wasn't recklessness, it was calculated brutality. His tackles weren't just physical, they were mental, planting fear into the hearts of receivers who dared to cross his path. One of the most talked about moments of Tatum's career came during the AFC divisional playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers on December 23rd, 1972. This game gave rise to the Immaculate Reception, one of the most famous and controversial plays in NFL history. With only 22 seconds left on the clock, the Steelers were desperate to score. Terry Bradshaw launched a pass to running back John Fuqua, but Tatum collided with Fuqua just as the ball arrived. The impact sent the ball flying. Here's where the controversy begins. The ball somehow landed in the hands of Steelers running back Franco Harris, who ran it 42 yards for a touchdown, sealing the Steelers' victory. At the time, NFL rules stated that a receiver couldn't intentionally deflect a pass to another teammate. The referees ruled that Tatum, not Fuqua, had touched the ball, making Harris's touchdown legal. The stadium erupted and the play went down in history. But for Tatum, this wasn't just a moment in the spotlight, it was a bitter memory. The Raiders had lost, and Tatum's involvement in the play became a subject of endless debate. Did he touch the ball? Was the play legal? No one could say for sure. But the Immaculate Reception became a symbol of Tatum's impact on the game. Even in defeat, Tatum's brilliance on the field didn't go unnoticed. He was selected to the Pro Bowl 3 times in 1973, 1974, and 1975. These weren't just token nods, they were recognition of a player who had truly dominated the game. By the time his career was in full swing, Tatum had racked up 37 interceptions, 736 interception return yards, and 10 fumble recoveries. But stats only tell part of the story. Tatum wasn't just about numbers, he was about presence. He didn't just play the game, he defined it. His reputation as the assassin wasn't just a nickname, it was a reality. Receivers feared him, coaches strategized around him, and fans couldn't get enough of him. Whether it was his record-setting fumble return or his countless bone-crushing tackles, Tatum made every moment on the field unforgettable. His Pro Bowl selections were a testament to his dominance, but for Tatum, the real victory was in the fear he struck into his opponents. Super Bowl 11 wasn't just another game, it was a defining moment for Jack Tatum and the Oakland Raiders. On January 9th, 1977, the Raiders faced the Minnesota Vikings in a clash that would cement their legacy. The Raiders dominated the game, winning 32-14, but it wasn't just the score that people remembered. It was a hit. It was the ferocity. And at the heart of it all, Jack Tatum. Tatum delivered one of the most iconic hits in Super Bowl history. Vikings receiver Sammy White ran a route, catching the ball with confidence until Tatum came charging in. The collision was so forceful, it sent White's helmet flying off his head. Fans erupted. The announcers could barely contain their shock. This wasn't just a tackle, it was a moment that captured everything Tatum stood for. He wasn't playing to stop the play, he was playing to dominate. That hit on Sammy White became one of the most replayed moments in NFL history. It wasn't just about the violence of the sport, it was about the impact of a player who redefined what it meant to play defense. For Tatum, Super Bowl 11 wasn't just a championship win, it was the pinnacle of his career, a showcase of his ability to shine on the biggest stage. August 12, 1978 was a day that changed Jack Tatum's life forever. It was a preseason game between the Raiders and the New England Patriots. Preseason games are supposed to be low stakes, a chance for players to warm up for the regular season. But on that day, a single play turned into one of the most tragic moments in NFL history. Patriots wide receiver Darryl Stingley ran a route, looking to catch a pass on a slant. As the ball arrived, so did Tatum. The collision was devastating. Stingley dropped to the ground, motionless. Fans watched in stunned silence as medical personnel rushed onto the field. What made the hit even more shocking was that it wasn't against the rules. No flags were thrown, and by the standards of the time, it was a clean play. But the aftermath was anything but ordinary. Stingley's spinal cord was severely damaged, leaving him paralyzed from the neck down. The news sent shockwaves through the sports world. While Tatum continued to play, the incident haunted him for the rest of his life. Critics labeled him reckless. Fans debated whether he was to blame, and Stingley's injury became a symbol of the dangers of football. Jack Tatum's career was never simple. On one hand, he was celebrated as a defensive powerhouse, a player who embodied the physicality of football. On the other hand, he was vilified as a symbol of the sport's brutality. The hit on Darryl Stingley became a focal point of this controversy. But it wasn't the only reason Tatum was a polarizing figure. Fans either loved him or hated him. To Raiders supporters, he was a hero, a player who gave his all for the team. To others, he was the villain of the NFL, a man who pushed the limits of the game's violence. The media played its part, often portraying Tatum as a relentless enforcer with little regard for the consequences of his actions. Tatum, however, remained unapologetic. "Football is a violent sport by nature," he once said. For him, the hits were part of the game, a necessary element of winning. Jack Tatum's playing style wasn't just impactful on the field, it influenced the rules of the game itself. The hit on Darryl Stingley, combined with Tatum's reputation for delivering punishing blows, forced the NFL to take a closer look at player safety. Over time, the league introduced new regulations aimed at reducing head and neck injuries, such as rules against helmet-to-helmet hits and unnecessary roughness. While Tatum wasn't directly responsible for these changes, his career highlighted the need for them. In many ways, Tatum became a symbol of the NFL's violent past, a reminder of the dangers players faced on every snap. Yet, even as the league moved towards safer practices, Tatum's legacy remained intact. He represented an era when toughness was celebrated, and the boundaries of the game were constantly tested. After retiring from the NFL in 1980, Tatum didn't fade into obscurity. He transitioned into a new chapter of his life, becoming a writer and advocate. He penned 3 best-selling books, including They Call Me Assassin, which provided a candid look at his career and the controversies that followed him. The books weren't just about football, they were about his perspective on life, fame, and the sport he loved. But Tatum's life took a dramatic turn in 2003 when complications from diabetes led to the amputation of his right leg. For a man who had spent his life as a physical force, the adjustment was difficult. Yet Tatum found inspiration in the resilience of children battling the same illness. He dedicated himself to raising awareness about diabetes, creating the Jack Tatum Fund for Youthful Diabetes to support research and treatment. Tatum's later years were a mix of challenges and triumphs. He battled health issues, but his work as an advocate and his contributions to the game kept his legacy alive. Even in adversity, Tatum showed the same determination that made him a legend on the field. Jack Tatum's impact extended beyond the NFL. His dominance on the field at Ohio State University made him a college football icon, and his legacy lives on through the Jack Tatum Award. This prestigious honor is given annually to the nation's best collegiate defensive back, celebrating the qualities that Tatum embodied: fearlessness, skill, and intensity. The creation of the award was a testament to the respect Tatum commanded, even decades after his college career. It wasn't just about his raw talent, it was about the way he transformed games and left a lasting impression on everyone who watched him play. For young athletes, winning the Jack Tatum Award is more than just recognition. It's a badge of honor that ties them to a player who changed the game forever. For many fans, one question looms large: does Jack Tatum deserve a spot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? His stats, accolades, and undeniable impact on the game make a strong case. Yet the controversies surrounding his career, particularly the hit on Darryl Stingley, have complicated his path to Canton. Tatum's exclusion from the Hall of Fame sparks passionate debates. Supporters argue that his 3 Pro Bowl selections, a Super Bowl championship, and his role in redefining the safety position are more than enough to merit induction. Critics, however, point to the polarizing aspects of his playing style, questioning whether his legacy aligns with the Hall's standards of excellence and sportsmanship. The discussion isn't just about Tatum, it's about how we judge greatness. Can a player's contributions to the game outweigh the controversies that surround them? For now, Tatum remains on the outside looking in, but his name continues to inspire heated conversations among fans and analysts alike. Jack Tatum's legacy isn't just defined by stats and highlights, it's shaped by the people who knew him, played alongside him, and faced him on the field. Teammates describe him as a fierce competitor with an unmatched work ethic. Raiders coach John Madden often spoke of Tatum's ability to change the momentum of a game with a single play. Opponents, on the other hand, remember him with a mix of respect and fear. Tatum's hits weren't just physical, they were psychological. Players who lined up against him knew they were in for a battle. Even years later, analysts continued to debate his impact. Was he a defensive genius or a symbol of football's more dangerous past? For many, the answer is both. What's clear is that Tatum wasn't just another player, he was a phenomenon. His presence on the field changed games, and his legacy continues to spark conversations about the nature of football and the players who define it. Jack Tatum passed away on July 27, 2010, from a heart attack at the age of 61. His death marked the end of an era, but also prompted a wave of tributes from fans, players, and organizations who recognized his contributions to the game. The Oakland Raiders released a statement calling Tatum the standard bearer and an inspiration for the safety position. His passing also reignited discussions about his legacy. Was he misunderstood? Should his contributions to the game overshadow the controversies that followed him? While the debates continued, one thing was certain: Tatum's influence on football was undeniable. He was honored posthumously by his alma mater, Ohio State, and by the Raiders organization, both of which celebrated his achievements and the indelible mark he left on the sport. Even in today's NFL, Jack Tatum's legacy can be felt. Modern safeties often cite him as an inspiration, a player who showed what it means to dominate the game from the defensive backfield. While the league has evolved, with stricter rules to protect players, Tatum's aggressive style remains a blueprint for those who play the position. Tatum's hits are legendary, but his real impact lies in the way he made defense a spectacle. He proved that safeties could be game changers, not just supporting players. Today, players like Cam Chancellor and Troy Polamalu are seen as carrying on Tatum's tradition of hard-hitting, versatile defenders who strike fear into opponents. But Tatum's legacy also serves as a reminder of the balance between aggression and safety. His career forced the NFL to reckon with the physical toll of the game, leading to changes that have shaped modern football. In many ways, Tatum's influence extends far beyond his playing days, shaping the way we think about the sport and the athletes who play it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Jack Tatum's incredible story, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take on his legacy. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update on the legends of football. Thanks for watching.